If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR for the app, or go to ANCHOR.fm to get started. I love using Anchor, and it's how I got started on my podcast, and I highly recommend. So please give Anchor a download and a try if podcast is on your needs. Welcome to Dirty Secrets of Massage. I am your host, Ava, and I'll be telling you the dirty truth about the massage therapy industry, different clients I encounter, and all things massage. Please send any topic requests to dirtysecretsofmassage@yahoo.com. And welcome. And once again, I have a massage story for you. In this particular massage story, I think it was about a year ago, or maybe September, October of last year, 2021 time frame. And it was when I was first starting to do mobile again, and an individual had contacted me, and he might have found me on Craigslist, I'm not sure. But Craigslist isn't really a go-to kind of place anymore because they've really cracked down on what you can and cannot advertise for. And really it's just a pain in the neck, and you just never know what you're going to get. And quite honestly, it's not any more fun. Or it's not fun anymore, I should say. And so my fee was really quite inexpensive, if you ask me, as when I was working for the booking girl, her fee started at $140. And for this individual, I quoted him $120. And I told him it was based on mileage, and he seemed okay with it at first. And then, of course, it was the same old line of, I've just started working out again, and I'm sore, and this and that, And so I just simply said, that's fine. When I get there, we'll get down to it and see what's going on. It's kind of hard to do an assessment over a text message or over the phone. And so I quoted him $120 based on mileage. He was about 13 miles from my location. And so he told me what he needed. I told him my fee, how much it was based on. And actually, I do believe, now that I recall, that he found me on my web online. And so my distance from where my office was actually farther than where I live. So when I moved out of that office, I changed my mileage, obviously, to where my equipment is kept, which is where I live. And so he lived about 13 miles from my house, and maybe about 14 or 15 from the office. And so I think he was at first looking for, I guess it was a mobile session because I added that to my menu. But anyways, at the end of the day, we ended up doing a mobile session. And so we book an appointment, and he gives me his address and apartment number and everything. And I leave plenty early to go to this appointment. But before that all happened, he scoped out my web, and then he tried to use my personal background in the bio as leverage to get a discount. He stated that he was some sort of a veteran of some sort, and he deserves a government discount. And he was just really trying to Jew down the price. And there's a certain demographic that does that, and I don't want to be specific, but it's usually gentlemen between the ages of 30 and 50 that are of black descent, African American descent. Those are the problem children of the most. Usually ones that are a little bit older than that, they've given me a problem before too, but there's always some black guy giving me a problem for whatever reason that is. And that may be because of where I live or because I'm not black and I owe them something. I'm not sure. But they're always giving me a problem. And sometimes they don't, but a majority of the time they do. And so this particular individual, I had an appointment at a doctor's office early that day, around 8 or 8:30. And as I'm sitting in traffic going to my doctor's appointment, this individual starts texting me rapid fire about the pricing. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous, like about the fee, about how he should get a discount for this and this and that, and it better be good because of this and that. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And so I said, he kept saying, I don't want to cancel, but I don't want to cancel, but this. And so I said, sir, you're really ruining your session. You have a 1-hour session for $120. You're ruining the session, and I haven't even gotten there yet. And so finally, I said, I have to go. I'll see you at your appointment time, which was like 11 or something like that. And I get there, and the parking was really easy as he was in a downstairs corner apartment, and I was able to park right next to his back door and just kind of unload my truck. And so I get all set up, and he was like, wow, this is a serious setup. And I was like, well, I mean, I don't know what you thought you were getting, but, I'm professional, and, I bring nothing but the best. And so finally he gets on the table, and at first, I'd ask like, oh, do you work from home? Or, are you working? And he's like, I work from home, and blah, 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 blah. And I said, oh, that's interesting, and I've done some, I tried to build a rapport with him. He traveled some with like the Army or something like that, and I've done extensive travel myself. And so I tried to use that as rapport building, but eventually we got the show on the road. And then somewhere along the line, after the session was over, he was really impressed and said that was the best session he's ever had, and this and that. And I made sure that sheet was where it was supposed to be. I wasn't cutting any slack with the sheet, because this guy did nothing but give me a hard time. And when they give me a hard time like that, sometimes I think they're looking for something else, and they're hoping you might slip up and, accidentally start slobbing the knob or something, And so I finished this session. He paid me, and then it seemed that he was reluctant, but he paid me, and I packed up and left. And then I think it was the next day, or it was several days later, 4 or 5 days later maybe, and he sent me this book, like of a text message telling me how unprofessional I was, that we had enough in common, that he deserved a discount, that I was overpriced, that I was rude, that I was boastful, that I was unprofessional, but the massage was good, but I was just a piss poor person, and I need to work on my service skills. And so he blocked me. And so, for whatever reason, so I went into the Cash App where he paid me, and I reported his account as harassment. That way, if he tried to go back and get a reimbursement for his fee, he was already flagged as harassment. So the fee went through and everything, and I didn't have any problems getting paid. But after he bragged about how wonderful it was and everything, it's like he had buyer's remorse, or he must have went and talked to his friends and they said he overpaid, something like that. I mean, this guy had a fairly nice apartment, 80-inch TV in the living room, 60-inch TV in the bedroom. I mean, it was a little ridiculous. And really nice furniture, that kind of thing. And so it was just ridiculous. And the only thing I could say is if you are wanting some sort of connoisseur service to your living room, it's going to cost you. Whether somebody comes and picks up your dog crap, or watches your kid, or you want a massage, or you want a haircut, or you want mobile waxing session, it's not free. It's not free. And matter of fact, now that I think about it, I think he was trying to get the mobile fee taken off. So I think he wanted $10 off, which is what I normally offer for first time people. But I don't offer that on mobile. So he wanted to pay $70, I think, instead of $120. And so he wanted the office fee, basically, which obviously is not going to happen. And so that was how that ended. He was a real jerk. I mean, it was overly abusive. And as one of my friends says, this is a professional service, not a flea market. We're not here to haggle. And you're not going to haggle me, or haggle my talent, or haggle my profession. And so, I was thinking here in the last couple days of like, why do people give massage therapists such a hard time? And I think the reason is because, we're part of the service industry, and this is how they treat other service industry people. Waiters and waitresses, bartenders, wax girls, massage girls, people who do the car wash. They'll find anything to complain about so they don't have to pay for the service. And so yard people, that anybody that is a labor industrious service worker is harassed by this demographic. And it's like, why? What do you get out of this? So you want a free service, but you know what? This guy never left me a review. So if my service was so bad, why wouldn't he go online and give me like a 1-star or a 2-star? Instead, he didn't review me at all. I mean, if he really wanted to burn me, that's really all he had to do. And it's not really a burn, because it's not hard to go in there and get those taken out. And so that was the end of him. And another thing I should add is that why would you harass a female in the service industry, especially with massage? Like I've said before, I could be a real psycho. I have his address. I have the key, the gate code to the gate. I still have it. I mean, how hard is it for me to pull my book open and go to that date where it was at, and go in there and punch that gate code and go hide on the other side of the parking lot and stalk him out and clock his butt when he gets out of, goes out of his apartment and gets in his car. It's not that hard. And so I'm not saying I would ever do that, but when you're screwing with people and trying to haggle them for their fee and being a jerk for really no reason, you got to remember that those people still know where you live. It's not that hard to come back or to go to your office of where you live and start making complaints about you. So just think about that when you're haggling your service worker. It's not hard to track people down, especially if you use a credit card and your first and last name is on there. Those people could be watching you go to the parking lot and take your plate number and get your address and start stalking you outside your house. So that was the end of him. He blocked me. He sent me this massively long, ridiculous text. It must have taken him an hour and a half to type it up. And then he sent it and hit the block button. And so yeah, that was the end of him. That was the end of him.